jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute and good morning to each and every one of you. Still a little under the weather, but I'm still, going to jump on here and do some lives. Basically perform some media duties. I'm saying, especially leading up to the holiday and everything. But first and foremost, shout out to the WCS supporters, man. Appreciate what you do. Thanks for tuning in. You always appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your input. It's always educational to the audience and also to myself. Hopefully everyone is having an extremely glorious holiday and be safe out there, because there's individuals out here trying to capitalize off your hard work. You know what I'm saying? They're willing to take instead of earn. And that happens on an everyday basis, but especially during the holiday season. So if you're getting gas or whatever the case may be, just be careful of what's going on, man. Be vigilant. Mr. Pass, what's good, man? What's good? He's on deck. King Mitch on deck. Come back, what up? What's up with you, Mitch? So we got to talk about something, right? Got to talk about what's going on, with the changeover, so to speak. Several lives ago, I talked about the changing of the guard, right? The change of the guard is actually taking place as we know it. I talked about this a while back, man, the changing of the guard in boxing. The changing of the guard is happening. But since YouTube now have a voice, you have individuals on here that's basically jumping the turnstiles already to get to the next grade. Unfortunately, when it comes to black fighters, we have a bad habit of criticizing one black fighter to support another black fighter, right? It's good to see the attention given to these black fighters that's on the come up, but it becomes clouded and convoluted when we're saying we're hardcore boxing fans. It's good that the energy and fire is being re-injected into the welterweight division, all for damn basic storylines. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, basic ass storylines to try to build up a freaking picture, an imaginative picture. That's all this is right here. Crawford and Spence is an imaginative picture. It's in the holidays. There's not many topics to talk about, but we got to go up here and search for storylines, right? So just like my motherfucking title says, you know what it is, dog. What do my title say? Monkey see, monkey say. Turnstile jumpers raid YTC. Ennis train all aboard. So now you have so many individuals jumping on the Jerome Boots Ennis train. And once again, I have nothing against Jerome Ennis. I'm just speaking about what I'm seeing out here with the turnstile jumpers trying to jump on back of Boots Ennis train before it even left the station. They're jumping up and down. Let's go. And they didn't even pay for the fare. They don't even know what's going on. They don't know the destination. They don't know shit. All they saw on the side of it is that, Jerome Boots in his picture or whatever. And they figure, oh shit, let me goddamn jump on this train right here. Fuck that. This is what we need. But the crazy part about it, y'all, is that now we go back to the triangle theory, or we go back to the line three. We have Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, now Jerome Ennis. They just said fuck Virgil Ortiz, which is absolutely crazy. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense not to put Virgil Ortiz in the hunt. Virgil Ortiz has proven that he can go through adversity and goddamn come out that bitch. For real, we haven't seen that from Boots. We've seen it from Virgil. But right now, within the YTC, we have a lot of these media that's pretty much leaning on the sides of Boots. And what's going on is they're totally unsure right now. Like I always say, they're not confident that Errol Spence will defeat Terrence Crawford due to his accident, due to his injuries, due to him not, absolutely being 100% put together to continue the fight. Because unfortunately for Spence, with having all those teeth replaced and potentially having some internal damage, whether it was soft tissue or not, it still happens. I told you this before for somebody who raced motorcycles. When you get injected into the pavement, let's just say even with a motorcycle with a helmet and some leathers on, right? A full leather suit, and you hit that pavement, it's some parts of your body is not going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? When you hit that slab right there, things is different. So check this out. Imagine doing that with no protective gear on. No protective gear. So that's what I look at when I hear Boots' name come up. They love Boots, first of all. They love they love saying Boots' name. Boots, Boots, Boots. They love it's a catchy phrase. Boots, Boots, Boots is on the way. Boots, Boots, Boots. But peep this though. When I say that he haven't fought nobody, you can't just push the narrative and say, "No, that's not true, man. What the hell? Boots is this, that, and the other." No, give Boots the same negative energy and place that cloud over his head, just like you did Terrence when he was coming to the welterweight division. You need to do it because this is why. Let me take you somewhere. What's going on? Let me say, I like Ennis. He looks like the next best thing in the welterweight division. I mentioned Ennis as a possible Crawford opponent because Thurman is fighting Barrios, Porter retired, Ugas and Spence are fighting each other. See, you answered my question in that whole post. You said Thurman is fighting Barrios. Barrios was a former champion at 140. Thurman was a former unified. So there's somebody, right, Mitch? There's somebody. Those are somebody. Porter is so-called retired right now, but he just came off of, a beating from Crawford. So Crawford's good. He just got out the ring in November. Why y'all sitting up here talking about who he should fight now? He just got out the ring, dog. He just got out the ring, man. And then Ugas and Spence, both champions, right? And we're gonna get to the Ugas Spence saga that's playing out. I'm glad it's playing out too, because a lot of y'all are gonna be disappointed in the end. Also, Virgil seems scared to mention Ennis. No, Virgil and Ennis is not trying to fight each other right now because they do like a lot of boxers do. They're trying to build up. They're trying to basically inflate. Okay, inflation is a real word. Look, it's nothing wrong with inflation when it comes to boxing. If you inflating your record in a sport, get in line. It's a lot of boxers inflating their records. You want to have those numbers like that. Look at Canelo's record. His record is extremely inflated. You know what I'm saying? He had several fights in Mexico. His record was extremely inflated, like many others. But peep this out, though. And Boots is top 3 in most sanctioned bodies. Yeah, just as recent. Yeah, for sure. But this is my issue with the whole Jumping the turnstile with boots in his train. You know what I'm saying? The shit haven't even left the station yet. You know what I'm saying? He's still trying to find out where he need to go. But this is what I want y'all to see right here. All right. And what I'm about to go to is, as much as I don't want to, I need for this to be, there needs to be more clarity to the dysfunction when it comes to this YouTube shit, because that's why a lot of individuals don't take YouTube media serious. They may hear us if it's in good standing and good taste. They may show us love, but when it comes to fighters in general, it's too many just turn the pages too quick and quick to write the same biased narratives on the same page. What's good for one fighter is nowhere close for the next fighter. That's bullshit, dog. So let's run it down just a little bit. The narrative was Crawford came up here and didn't fight nobody, right? So before he stepped in the ring with Kell Brook, he fought nobody. He truly fought nobody. So he finally fought a common opponent, just like they do all the time. Just like Lomachenko is doing, because he was trying to work himself back up to fight Tio. He fought Masayoshi Nakatani, and then he fought Richard Comey. Teofimo Lopez had already beat both of them. So when it comes to Crawford stepping in there with Kell Brook, you hear that he's not the Kell Brook, but yet he's about to step in there with Amir Khan. So he's still boxing. People was up here pushing these narratives of retirement, same way they doing Sean Porter. Same way they doing Sean Porter. So Sean Porter comes over here. He loses a close split decision to Errol Spence. Him and Terrence Crawford is damn near the same age. He comes over here and faces Terrence Crawford, and I hear the most acutely distorted bullshit that you're going to hear, that Sean Porter has miles on him. His dad said he was about to retire. And when him and Terrence Crawford pretty much start boxing in the same year, like, that is the most dysfunctional, debilitating, inherited, learned trait of absolute lying that you're going to hear on this YTC shit. They're both 34. They're both 34, right? Sean Porter is not the same. Niggas, where are y'all getting this information? Why are y'all putting yourself to say, oh, they're not the same? Sean Porter is not the same Sean Porter stepped in at Errol Spence. But yet, Sean Porter was giving a good account of himself in there with Terrence Crawford. I was listening to the lives. People was hype, jumping up and down. Takes me back to when Deontay Wilder fought Luis Ortiz the first time. People was jumping up and down when he hurt Deontay. Goddamn, Sean Porter was in here having success. You can hear it in the commentators' voices all the way up to round, what, 7, 8? How many rounds was this fight? 12? So they're over the halfway mark, and the commentators are giving Sean Porter credit for the way he's looking. And all of a sudden, I hear individuals that want people to take them serious. They have general boxing knowledge, but yet they're coming up with absolute biased commentating, biased reporting, distorted reporting. They know it's rhetoric. They know it's agitprop when it comes down to it. But that's what happens when you have a platform and you're able to speak from the place that you're renting out over here on YouTube. You're able to do that. Let me show you something, right? I hear people, and Mitch is not the only one. People are sitting up here trying to toss Ennis off on Crawford. But yet when Crawford was up here trying to get a fight with Errol Spence, it was like he ain't fought nobody to fight Errol Spence. But all of a sudden, Crawford is defending his title 5 freaking times. And now Ennis comes into the equation like Carlos Ocampo. And then all of a sudden they want to say, hey, well, since Crawford ain't got nobody to fight, nigga, he just got out the ring last month, y'all. He just stepped out the ring while Errol Spencer's over there nursing the eye injury. He just stepped out the ring. And y'all say, well, Crawford ain't fighting nobody. Man, this shit seems like grade school, man. It seems like y'all motherfuckers are peeling gum off the bottom of the desk and just chewing it. That's good. Shit. A little tart. Dude, what are we talking about with this? How does Boots Ennis deserve a shot right now? How did he rate a shot with Crawford? I'm going to tell you why. Check this out right here. Check this out, man. Let me take this thumbnail down right quick. And let's go through some shit. Boots Ennis, right? A youngin' in the game, 24 years old. Salute to Boots Ennis. His last opponent was Thomas Delorme. Thomas Delorme was 25-5-1. Pay attention to those numbers, because numbers, in this case, in the YTC, they lie. They do. You know how they lie? Because you have too many YTC voices over here. See no evil. Fuck the hearing, because they hear each other talking that bullshit, but they see no evil. Look at this shit. Sergey Lipinets, 16-1-1. His only loss to Mikey Garcia at 40. And there's no need for me to continue to go down to this right here. It's no need. It's no need. Because look at that. Look. Hold on for a second. I'm back. I'm over here multitasking on multiple tabs. Jerome Ennis, 24 years old, KO ratio 89.6. Thomas Delorme, 25-5-1. Pay attention. He stopped him in the first round. Sergey Lipinets, former champion at 140, only lost to Mikey Garcia, 16-1. Right? So check this out, though. We don't have to go to Chris Van Heeren. We're just gonna go with the last two, because that's this year. So when did the motherfucking train fare become free? By looking at this, who's correct me if I'm wrong, who's giving out Groupons on this motherfucking shit? Who's giving out Groupons, man? Y'all saying based off Sergey Lipinets and Thomas Delorme, we're good. We're good to push Boots Ennis off on Terrence Crawford. What has he done? Just like you always popping those Q&As for Crawford to get a fight with Spence, who only had one more belt. We have grown adults up here saying one subtracted from two. Let me see. One subtracted from two is one, but in Spence's case, it's really two. Why is it two? Because Crawford ain't fought nobody, so the WBO title really don't matter. That's a top rank belt. That's a top rank belt right there. That shit don't matter. So really, it's 1 + 2. I mean, 1 subtracted 2 is 2, because it's not really considered a championship belt that Crawford has. It's a top rank belt. So what happens when you look at somebody's record, like Boots Ennis, and he's just coming off fighting Euroball back in 2020, February 2020 of last year. 14-1, dog. Euroball. Then he fought Juan Carlos Abreu. Like these cats, like look at his last 5 fights. Euroball, Abreu, Harridan. You know what happened with the headbutt, right? That you can't count that. That doesn't give you damn credit. We're not going on here just giving credit vouchers. Then Sergey Lipinets stopped in 6 rounds, and Thomas Delorme. So they love speaking about how Sean Porter was so freaking antiquated when he stepped in there with Terrence Crawford, but they're the same age. If you ever hear one of these voices, these damn media segues talking that bullshit like that, you need to just put something in the live chat and say, man, they're the same age. Sean Porter isn't retired. He just got his ass beat. And Terrence Crawford stopped him. That's all that was. The same energy that y'all said when the referee stepped in from Mark Breland throwing in the towel with Deontay Wilder. Keep the same energy. So in this particular case, Thomas Delorme, this is the opponent that you're going to say finishes up the application for Jerome Ennis to be approved, for his credit to be approved. His FICO can't be that high to step in the ring with Terrence Crawford off of Thomas Delorme. Let me show you Thomas Delorme right quick. You tell me in this case, being in this a Christmas spirit and the colors we're looking for are green, we're looking for those green sparkling colors in Christmas. But look at this shit though, y'all. Thomas Delorme, 31 years old. Look at all those red right there. Look at the red. Look at that. He came into the fight with Boots Ennis riding a 2-fight losing streak. He came into the fight with Boots Ennis riding a 2-fight losing streak. Just look at that shit. This is the credit that you all are giving Jerome Ennis to be ready for the one and only Terrence Crawford. That's what you all are telling me. That is enough. That's enough credit to validate him getting a shot at Terrence Crawford. I mean, what am I listening to? What am I looking at? My eyes are not covered and my ears are not mute. What are you saying? How, going off those last 2 fights with Lepignets? Let's go up here for instance. Look, let's go up here and look at Lipignets. Lipignets. Just look at Lipignets. Lipignets fought Eric Bone, Lamont Peterson, Ensign, Clayton, and then Jerome Ennis. He had 3 wins, and then he had a draw with Custio Clayton, and then he stepped in there with Jerome Ennis, and the fight was stopped in 6. So therefore, my question is, coming off Thomas Delorme, who was riding a 2-fight losing streak, how does that validate the free pass for Jerome Ennis to step in there with Terrence Crawford? How are you coming out your mouth proving that shit to me that is enough credit to boost up his damn professional FICO to step in the ring with a Terrence Crawford? You got to do away with the monkey see, monkey say syndrome that's going on in YTC. If you're going to say Terrence Crawford to this day, you're going to damn smudge all of his motherfucking competition. You're going to just smudge it away, and it makes no sense. How are you going to come up here off the last opponent Boots had and say, put him in there because you're infatuated and enamored with his name, first of all? A lot of y'all want to shine his boots. But yet you want to put somebody off on Terrence Crawford because you truly feel he's a big threat to Errol Spence. See, that's what happened when you get a group of individuals that are used to being monkey see, monkey say type of individuals. How does Boots rate a shot at Terrence Crawford coming off a fighter like Delorme, who was riding a 2-fight losing streak, and he goes in there and gets stopped in the first round as if it wasn't bound to happen in the first place? How are y'all giving this dude this credit again? Like, how are y'all giving this dude this credit? Should I pull up Terrence Crawford resume again and show you what the people, a lot of these voices on here in the YTC was basically being so critical about? Look, you got Terrence Crawford, who's 38 and no 29 knockouts, right? It don't matter what people think, but if you look at it to a point where him moving up to the division and everything, we already know the deal. But people don't want to give Jose Benavidez, who is 27-0, credit. They don't want to give Amir Khan credit because he's been knocked out several times before. Okay. Kyle Velasquez was an Olympian, 21-0. Like I said before, Jose Benavidez was 27-0. Jeff Horn was 18-0. Kyle Velasquez was 21-0. Kell Brook, we already know the history with him. We already know the history. He came in there with a loss to Gennady. He came in there with a loss to Errol. But he has not lost since that fight. And he was fighting one division higher than his last fight with Errol Spence. And then Sean Porter, of course. 3 losses. Three losses, y'all. But this was Sean Porter, who still had boxing appraisal for his performances in the sport. Losing his title to Kell Brook, fighting Keith Thurman, and then winning the damn vacant WBC against Garcia, stepping there with Spence and losing because he was dropped in 11. He lost a very, very close decision. Very, very close decision, Sean Porter. Right? Sean Porter lost a very, very close decision, split decision to Errol Spence. But see, if you look at what Terrence Crawford has been able to collect since turning professional in 08, and seeing that Sean Porter turned professional in 08, the criticism that was given when he first stepped into the welterweight division, how is it unwarranted to provide that same sting, provide that same venom to Jerome Ennis, who has not fought anyone, for him to get the welcome aboard package, to step in there with the one and only Bud Crawford? Who is signing off on the welcome aboard package? Because the final shit got to go through me. Who's signing off on this welcome aboard package? Because you obviously don't know the chain of command. I'm serious, dog. What in the hell are y'all dudes talking about? Did I just hear somebody tell me that Sean Porter has a lot of wear and tear on his body? He was close to retirement, and that's not the same Sean Porter who fought Errol Spence. Why not? Up to the 7th and 8th round, the commentators was giving him all the congratulatory praise you can think in the way he was performing. He was fighting a good, smart fight. He was fighting a better fight than I thought he would. And then the bridge opened up. It's almost like one of those Godzilla movies. You know Godzilla is not going under the bridge. You're gonna tear the bitch down. Somebody fucked up and said, hey, you behind on the scorecards, dog. For real? How? Okay. Godzilla came through that motherfucker, dog, and tore that shit down. You know how Godzilla make a motherfucking entrance? He tearing something up. Once again, I asked the question with minimal respect to how it's worded. How in the fuck do you believe that Jerome Ennis meets the requirements, has an approving welcome aboard package to be accepted to step into the ring with Terrence Crawford, all because y'all want a young lion to come in here and fight Crawford, 34 years old, instead of allowing Errol Spence to do his own work? Why don't y'all just be honest with yourselves and tell the public that you're not for certain, your confidence is not 150% when it comes to Spence beating Crawford, but you want a young lion to do it. And so you fuck around, that young lion go out here and collect the belt, and he start eating. He get a taste of what that life is about. He just start eating. Then he become in charge. See, it shouldn't be like that. Competition should be competition the right way. It shouldn't be like, well, I'm going to push hate on one fighter by bringing this other fighter into the equation. So that's going to free up attention to the fighter that we're really trying to support. It's just like, oh, back in the day, they say, hey, man, go over there and fight so-and-so. For what? He didn't do shit to me. But, man, I don't like that nigga, man. Just go over here and goddamn, go in here and goddamn fight him, man. Provoke that situation. First, back in the day, it was Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Now, it's a wave on YouTube. Though it's in motherfucking a freaking pothole, it's a wave. You know, even potholes get ripples. It's a wave going around. Now they trying to push Ennis off on Crawford, which goes to show you how underdeveloped YouTube is when it comes to mainstream media, because it's a bunch of narrative pushers. Is saturated with opinions. Those opinions are extremely biased. I'm talking about extremely salty bias in pushing Ennis off on Terrence Crawford. If y'all wanted Ennis to fight anybody, why don't you just have him fight Errol Spence? Did we not just see this same scenario play out with Canelo Alvarez? Canelo had 3 belts and he went in there and Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant had the IBF title now. Caleb Plant had the IBF title, negotiated his worth and got over 10 mil. Down here, for some reason, I guess Caleb Plant had the complexion for the protection, goddammit. As they always say. Caleb Plant had the complexion for the protection. You know why? Because I don't hear anybody using that same song and dance with Terrence Crawford. I guess Terrence Crawford complexion misses the detection. No one wants to give him the same credit Caleb Plant was doing. You figure if Errol Spence, this is all they talking, right? If Errol Spence pick up a 3rd belt, the WBA, it's just going to be automatic for him to get what he want with Crawford. But yet Crawford, his mindset is to do the exact same thing that Caleb Plant just did. Stand on his square and get paid fairly. People was up here paying no mind at all about Caleb Plant and what he was freaking saying and how he was standing square. They were saying hardly anything when Teofimo negotiated his fight with Vasily Lomachenko. And they were saying the fight is in jeopardy because Teo is negotiating his worth. Well, guess what? Why is it any different with Terrence Crawford? Doesn't he have that ability to advocate for himself, for what it's worth? Let me show you another how it's so contradicting, especially on YTC. In one case, people will quote other voices on YouTube and talking about, oh, get that money, get that money. Money is everything when it comes to boxing. Bill Haney said that money is everything. Get that money. But then Terrence Crawford is basically telling you all that that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to fight for my worth and get my money. But no, that's different though. Errol Spence got 3 belts, but you just said get that money. Because when it comes to certain individuals, people look at them as having all this money. So it's all about get that money, right? So if it's all about get that money, we should give a thumbs up to Caleb Plant for standing tall against Canelo Alvarez. We should credit down Teofimo Lopez for what he was able to do for Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? We should credit even Gennady Golovkin for what he was able to make against Canelo Alvarez. It's many scenarios we can put out there, but I don't hear the same fairness when it comes to Terrence Crawford getting paid what he's worth. I was reaching in my pocket. I was saying, God damn, can I play the race card on this shit? Because most of the people that's telling him, Errol about to get a 3rd belt, what next? He can't say shit. I'm like, shit, I pull out that motherfucker. It's black on both sides. I want to play the race card, dog. The card's like, no, nigga, it's black on both sides, man. What is this called? Reverse racism? Like, what's going on? Why y'all hating on Crawford, dog? Why y'all so prejudiced against Bud? Like, god damn. Other people have negotiated their worth, but they're basically telling Bud to go take what you get. That's prejudice. That's discrimination. And it's coming from his own people. They don't want to listen to this truth. Let me read what's in the chat, man. Shout out to the people in the chat. My bad, man. I just have to get it off before I start reading the comments, because comments can be long-standing and winded. Inflation happens in boxing. I still don't like it, though. Virgil can call out champs who he knows won't fight him right now because they're looking to fight other champs, but he's hesitant to fight Ennis. They don't. Okay. I never said Crawford hadn't fought anyone as it pertains to getting an Errol Spence fight. I was critical of his welterweight resume, but that never mattered to me in actually making a Spence fight. We all want the Spence versus Crawford fight. Heavy lift squad, back end boys in the building. Good morning, WCS. What's good, L Foul player on deck, man? Dog, stop it. Stop it with that heavy lift squad, dog. Stop it. If Crawford wants to wait until late next year to get Ugas, Spence winner, then that's his choice. If he wants a fight in between, I like to see him fight Ortiz or Ennis. So Maurice Hooker and Kavaliauskas, is that those people for Ortiz? Does that complete his welcome aboard package? Is that what it is? Because he defeated Kavaliauskas when he was undefeated. Is that enough? Maurice Hooker, we all know he was coming off that stoppage at 140 and stepping up to 147 and try to establish his prominence, and the fact that he hurt his hands or whatever the case may be. So we give him some extra points on his boxing FICO coming off the Hooker win. What I'm trying to say, in all respect, Mitch, is when you have individuals on Terrence Crawford record basically underlining and highlighting, illuminating Jeff Horn as the champion when he initially entered the welterweight division, right? And everybody else that came after that. Does Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Ennis, last 2 to 3 opponents, add up to who Crawford has fought in his last 2 to 3? Not only that, But remember when people were saying that Terrence Crawford, from the time he defeated Jeff Horn, he hasn't fought nobody. This man is 6 fights into the welterweight division with 5 title defenses, all stoppages, dog. And you're coming up here saying Jerome Ennis, who just defeated Thomas Delorme, who was on a 2-fight losing streak, deserves just because Crawford's up here twiddling his thumbs? It how many days has it been? Just over 30? How many days has it been, dog? That he supposedly sent Sean Porter into retirement. Oh my God. The Loman was a step down from Sergey Libyayev, in my opinion. See, you talking your shit, man. I agree. Not mad at Ennis is trying to stay active, though. Okay, stay active and fight down. Stay active and fight down, dog. I mean, come on, inflate your resume like everybody else do. Just because they basically putting you on the elevator and say, yeah, okay, you're right here right now. And I'm sitting up here saying, if you look at it, they say, oh, well, and it's about to be Errol Spence's mandatory, but nobody ain't talking about that. I say Boots is really Errol Spence mandatory coming up. The number 2 slot is vacant. And then the guy that's in number 1, what is he? He just lost to Cody Crowley. So who else next? Like I said last night, Casper? Who's next in line? You're gonna give freaking hydrogen that just lost to Crowley? You're gonna give him another shot at Mandy? I don't think that's how it works. So the next man will be in line is Ennis. But see, just like they doing Stanthionis with freaking Udinas Ugas, he gets this WBA title, and somehow people start fudging numbers, and Ennis becomes the IBF mandatory. How are they going to make that work? It's no franchise belt here. So therefore, is Ennis going to get an extra paycheck? Or is Errol Spence going to fight Jerome Ennis once he becomes mandatory and he still haven't stepped in there with Terrence Crawford? How is this storyline going to play out, y'all? Don't start acting like you can't read. Bruce goes on deck. How you doing, Bruce? Salute, Scotty. Appreciate you. Salute to you, man. Ennis has done just as much as Jose Benavidez and Green Machine, in my opinion. Crawford fought them. Why are we talking about why all of a sudden Jose Benavidez is the topic of discussion? I'm just curious. Why all of a sudden Jose Benavidez, the guy that y'all was saying that was injured and had a bad leg and all this other shit, why y'all all of a sudden bringing up him? Why are y'all not bringing up Amir Khan? Because all you think about is his knockouts. All you think about is Crawford making him quit like he made Sean Porter quit. Why are y'all bringing up Jose Benavidez? Why bring up Green Machine now? Green Machine is lost. I can sit up here and be petty and say Green Machine has never been the same since Crawford. Since all I hear is Sean Porter, he's not the same fighter that stepped in there with Errol Spence. You see where I'm going with this shit? This shit is retreading and look, it's intertwining over and over and over and over again. Monkey see, monkey say, goddammit. Jump the turnstile and run to the train. The bitch ain't moving. How and why y'all putting Jerome Ennis at the front door of Terrence Crawford? I'll tell you why. Because they want somebody else to do the work that Errol Spence can't get done. He win this dang title against Udinas Ugas. Shit. No telling. He might go fight his mandatory just like T.O. did. And we might get the same results. Yes or no? That's all I'm hearing now. I'm hearing that Boots Ennis is moving up. It's the holiday season. Look, it's the holiday season and people are busy up here talking about the ranking systems. When you're looking at the ranking systems and you know a fighter lost, but yet you want to say no, Boots Ennis is not going to, step up to the mandatory. You just don't want to give anybody any shine for understanding how the process of elimination work. Boxing will always be a process of elimination, bro. Always. Jerome Ennis is third. Who else is the damn number one now? Kadra Harov. He just lost. Number two is not rated. But see, I can tell you what's going on here, right? Check this out. I can tell you what's going on here. Boxing will always be a part of the board game called manipulation. Number two is not rated. They're trying to finagle and work themselves to a point where, we need a mix up here. Look how Jerome Ennis is third across the board from the WBC to the IBF. And then in the WBO, he's number two behind Virgil Ortiz. He's closer to a mandatory, per se, with the eye test when it comes number-wise in the WBO. People pushing Jerome Ennis, and they're not pushing Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is number one, dog. He's next in line for Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford spanked that ass too, dog. You think Jerome Ennis is going to get a immediate shot? Like, you think Jerome Ennis will get the pass above Virgil Ortiz, who sits in that number one slot? Virgil Ortiz was here before Ennis. He was doing things. He was at the top of the COC before Ennis, man. That's why you see him, Errol Spence, number one. Virgil Ortiz, number one. He has no franchise championship, so we need to take a look at that. And then the WBA, the only thing that's effective to appease Errol Spence is paying Stantione step aside money so they can fight for that WBA title. And then we'll see if the unification trumps everything and we make this shit happen. But do you see what I'm talking about? They're not pushing Virgil Ortiz. They're not pushing Virgil Ortiz because they believe that Jerome Ennis is the next best. So they want to hop on that motherfucker and doing Ennis, and they got their damn rag and they pulling out their boot polish. They got them running that rag in there and shining his boots. That's good, Jerome. That's good. You like that shine? Good. I want you to be properly prepared. I want you to be looking all nice and, dressed for the occasion when you step in that arrow. I'm hoping they're hearing us over here in the YTC. I hope. That's why we shine in your boots. We shine in your boots. We want you to be ready to step in there with Terrence Crawford. We're going to push and we're going to push and we're going to push. It's not going to work. You're just wasting your breath, man. You think you're going to leapfrog Virgil Ortiz? Virgil Ortiz is number one in the WBC and WBO. Stantione is going to prolong the process of WBA. He take a step aside money, so somewhere down the road, if he gets his shot, cool. But the changing of the guard is happening just like I said. Real talk. The changing of the guard is happening just like these guys that I told you months and months ago are now here. You have the changing of the guard that is now here. It's up to them to take over. The Conor Benns, the Ortizes, the Ennis, they're here. Even Martin, he's gonna be up there. You know what I'm saying, doing something. They're here. The changing of the guard is here, man. They're in rank. They're in ranks, man. What you see at the top, the Spence, the Crawford, Ugas, they on their way out of this welterweight lineup. The ranks are changing. Just like in the military, we call open ranks, march, and then we'll immediately go off to the left. We meet the first squad, heels together, right face, and we inspect the squad. This is what's going on in the welterweight division. The changing of the guard is upon us. It's just the YouTube community is trying to push Jerome Ennis on Crawford to do dirty work that they know Errol Spence is incapable of doing himself. And I guarantee you, if Jerome Ennis is able to fill that position, they're going to be sitting up here talking about what Jerome Ennis, should take, what Crawford. Then you're going to have two fighters that they can't decide, on Spence and damn Ennis. They're not going to be able to decide. They're going to be like, well, it should be a 50-50 fight, right? It should be a 50-50 fight, right? Man, Ennis, man, he's the next young lion. He's the next this, the next that. Are y'all going to be pushing that same energy for Jerome Ennis that he should take 70-30, 80-20, 90-10? Mitch, I never like what he was what has he done or who has he fought to deserve a fight narrative, especially when it comes to an undefeated prospect. Fuck it, let's see the fights. Well, it's not that simple on the YouTube community. That's what they're pushing. That's like the only reason I basically caveat off this fight, because they pick and choose what fighters they want to pin this on. You know what I'm saying, Mitch? They pick and choose which fighter they want to pin this comment that you just said. Who has he fought? You heard it drowned. You heard that shit dipped in muddy water so much that you get used to the dirty rag. They keep washing and watching these narratives with that dirty ass rag. Who is Crawford fought? Who is Crawford fought? Who is Crawford fought? And they act like freaking Spence resume is all that. His resume isn't all that, dog. But just because they have familiar names that's been boxing, you can't tell them that Danny Garcia, you know what I'm saying, outside the popularity contest, isn't a worthy opponent for Spence. Like, they look at Danny Garcia, who, in my opinion, what has he truly, truly done outside of stopping Adrian Granados? You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Like, how many champions did this man defeat at welterweight to pick up a belt? Like, I like DSG. Cool cat. But I'm just saying, they boosting this man up, outside of 140. They boosting him up as if he came in here and did anything different. Like, dude, he lost the big names. Kell Brook, damaged goods when Errol Spence fought him. Damaged goods. Damaged goods. There's no way he could have recovered that easy from taking that beating 2 weight divisions higher the amount of time he fought. Me wanting to see Ennis fight Crawford has nothing to do with Errol Spence. I like to see Spence fight Ennis as well. Thurman claims he don't know that boy. Porter straight up said no. Well, why do we believe that Thurman is lying? Why do we believe that? Ennis has not went up here. He's not a top tier household name just yet. Ennis is the new guard that's on deck. Ennis is the new lion that's here to take over. He's the new lion that's been strolling around. You know what I'm saying? He's here. But if Thurman sit up here and say he didn't know the boy, why do we sit up here and act like it's a lie? Thurman might not have known it. He's on top of a mountain playing a vuvuzela. He getting married, dealing with his family. He might not knew the boy. Why is that such a lie, Mitch? I don't think it's a lie, man. I think Thurman had so much shit going on, he didn't know who Ennis was. I pushed Ennis before Virgil because he stepped aside and gave Porter his shot. He had bumped Porter out of the number one spot. Next thing I know, Porter was the mandatory. Maybe it was Golden Boy fault. Listen, man. Once again, you're finding a reason to make an excuse as to who you feel that should get the shot here, who you should get the shot there. Listen to what you said. I'll push Ennis before Virgil because he stepped aside. Listen to what you said because he stepped aside and gave Porter his shot. Mitch, has Porter already had a shot? Has he? UK on deck. What's good? Well, you should listen to Blu-ray on 78 now. It's a whole chat of Spence. Hey, man, I don't know whether to take UK serious because UK, man, you be coming in here dogging out American fighters, man. But that shit was funny, what you just said, dog. And plus the way it's spelled, you know what I'm saying? I don't use that term for real. I that's something I don't use. Like all that demasculinity, demasculizing insults and obscenities, I don't, but do tell they're UK because you know what? I will oblige. Let me let me take a peek. Let me take a peek and see what's going on. Because this is like all about my boy Bud Crawford, you know what I'm saying? I see too much. Look, I see too much of demasculizing going on when it comes, especially the black fighters. They always want to put black fighters in a compromising position. You know what I'm saying? They want to put them with wigs on, dresses, and all this other shit to make fun and belittle them. But why don't you put Errol Spence in a dress? Something. Show me something. Hold on for a second. Let me try to pull this shit up. Okay. Okay. Let me get back. Ennis is in the position that was funny. But shout out to the LDBC, man. Shout out to the LDBC. I don't consider none of them cats, what UK said. I don't use that term. But I have had my say so. On Blu-ray, how he come over here and ask a question and you can't even get an answer. You ask him a question and it's always no. Now, what's the better part of the body to use defense? The feet. Nope. So you're trying to tell me you hold your feet in place and defense is adequate. Just moving from the waist down, boom, boom. I mean, from the waist up, boom, boom, boom. That's defense, right? Making sure your arms in a certain place, your elbows, head movement, and all that. Movement has a lot to do with defense. Eluding has a lot to do with movement, using footwork. You'll never win, man. Ennis is in a position where he have to take a 70-30 versus any champ at this point. We still have unfinished business there, Mitch. This is Terrence Crawford still being the reigning defending. WBO world champion. This is the same scenario we had Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant. The last piece of the puzzle is Terrence Crawford. So his minions can talk all they want about Errol Spence picking up the WBA belt from Ugas. And Blu-ray over there talking about Errol will probably stop Ugas. I don't know. Man, come on now. Who has he stopped lately? Did he stop Mikey Garcia? Stop Sean Porter? Did he stop the other Garcia, Danny? Why are they saying like Errol's this incredible body puncher, dog? He ain't the boogeyman of shit. Who has he been stopping? Who? I mean, come on, man. Who has he been stopping? Why all of a sudden, you haven't really paid close attention to Ugas and what he's been able to do? Thurman fucking lying, bro. And Teofimo Senior voice. Teofimo Senior voice. He's scared. He's scared. He don't want to fight us. He's scared. Let's see. He's scared. Virgil should have the Mexican community, Golden Boy in the zone, pushing him. Personally, I'll push Ennis if I had to choose between the two. What I'm trying to figure out, like I asked before, what has Ennis done to deserve this push in the back when you all didn't have your palms open and trying to push Terrence Crawford to fight Errol Spence because he ain't did shit. And this is the man who had a title there, Mitch. He had a world title, Mitch. Ennis don't have shit except a resume, a box rec, a register, a guy on his record who he fought in his last outing that was on a 2-fight losing streak that he stopped in the first round, that Terrence Crawford had already fought 6 years ago. He already stopped Delorme in 6 rounds. Why are we pushing, have the hand in the back? Take out the battery and let that man do work and earn his spot whenever time comes. Why are y'all not pushing Virgil Ortiz? Why are y'all thinking that, okay, Boots leapfrogs over Virgil Ortiz when Virgil has had some very exciting fights? I'm going to tell you, even though there was adversity, Virgil had some exciting fights. Ennis has did what he's supposed to do, but so did Terrence Crawford. Crawford goes in here and stops somebody. They say, oh, he wasn't shit. They bring up Jose Benavidez because if you look at the total of 6 fights that he had in the welterweight division, the one who stepped into the 12th round was Jose Benavidez. So they give him credit. First they say his leg was fucked up, and then they use the leg and say, you know what, he went into the 12th round. So let's use Jose Benavidez as the bookmark when we want to criticize Cross's resume right off the rip. We shouldn't be up here talking about who has Jose Benavidez fought. Who has Jerome Ennis fought? Thomas Delorme, someone who Terrence Crawford fought years ago and stopped him? I mean, come on already, bro. Come on. Is Thomas Delorme the same fighter that stepped in there with Terrence Crawford? That's going to be the next narrative. Thomas Delorme, he's not that old. He's about the same, that stepped in there with Crawford. Jerome Ennis did it better. He stopped him in 1. Crawford stopped him in 6. The shit never stops, dog. Virgil should have, I already read that. Jay Ocho on deck. Salute, comeback. What's good with you? That's good. Y'all hold on for Man, look, I need to apologize because sometimes I just be up here not understanding how individuals repeat the same over and over again, and then they see one do it, and then they go over here and say the same shit. When do we get to a point where we saying that a fighter has to, like you treating this shit like you paying a bill, like there's a debt. It's not an open debt here. Like, why are we keep saying that Terrence Crawford, he has no other choice except? So if fighters went and had that civility, that type of slavish mentality, right, to just surrender and don't fight for what's right, we never would reach different leaps and bounds when it comes to fighters' pay. You know what I'm saying? We'll just continue to have fighters just accepting pennies until you have a fighter that's demanding more. Now, some of them might say, well, that's what Spencer's saying. No, check this out. You have to identify what Terrence Crawford has been able to do in his boxing career. And you have to understand, in this nomenclature of undisputed, just because you have all the belts, when you get to the last one, there's going to be some type of conflict unless that fighter is just desperate and on his way out the door and they're totally accepting of the money that you're giving them. In this case, that's not even close. Like, Terrence Crawford still has some time left on his damn boxing clock. So he's not desperate trying to sit up here and say, thank God, Spence is finally at my front door. Let's talk this business. Okay. I have no problem. Okay. 70-30. Cool. That's fine with me. Cool. That's fine. That's not the case. Somebody tell me, why is it okay in these between these two fighters that we keep hearing the same shit over and over again? He has to take 60-40. He has to take 60. Why can't you say something else though? Why is it strictly 60-40? Like, what's going on, man? Like, 55-45? It can't be 55-45. Where's the scale, Mitch, J Ocho, Bruce? Where's the scale of reasoning when it comes to this 60-40? Like, when we come to these negotiation practices where people are deriving these numbers and they're stuck on 60-40. Why not 55-45? Why are we evening? We're so stuck in simulation. We're scared to do anything outside of the normal. People always want to damn just even these numbers off with that value, like 0 to 100 grading scale. 60-40, that's 100% grading scale. But in between that, you can still put another grading scale that looks different to the human eye than usual. 55-45 doesn't look attractive, but it's still fair, right? In a certain case. But see, when you say that, it moves it closer to equality. Like, they're getting close to being fair, like 50-50. 50-50. 50-50 is too even playing, like a too much of an even playing field when it comes to, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. So they got to pretty much heavy the scales in favor of Errol Spence and try to keep it down there like a 60-40. Because none of these niggas are getting paid. None of them are receiving a penny. None of them. The only reason I'm talking about the 60-40 shit, because I think it's unfair to continue to hear the same regurgitated opinion-based narratives pushed out here in the YTC. Who designated you to stick to 60-40? I'm just curious, bro. That's all. I was just curious. I was just trying to find out, bring some clarity to it all. Outside the monkey see, monkey say turnstile jumpers. It's becoming it's becoming a common practice here on YouTube. One person said, the other person said, another person said, everybody's like 60-40, 60-40. Who is coming up with this grading scale? Who is judging that on the scale of fairness? Where do we come up with the 60-40 bullshit? Why not 55-45? You notice nobody say 55-45? I guess it's too many fives in that motherfucker, dog. And plus it bring it closer to an even playing field when it comes to negotiation. 55-45 is not attractive. 50-50? Nah. I mean, y'all want to boost up Errol Spence having all these belts. But in the overall picture, Terrence Crawford still has more championships. Y'all up here glorifying Errol Spence off of what he's done in a single division, man. And then y'all have the nerve to try to compare him to freaking Marvin Hagler? Who is his Tommy Hearns? It can't be Kell Brook, nigga. Like, who is his Tommy Hearns, dog? Who is his Sugar Ray Leonard? Man, y'all tripping, bro. Man, y'all want to sit up here and create stuff. That's this YouTube turned into an animated series, man. All these fictional based stories are damn running rapid throughout YouTube. Somebody just explain to me the only answer I want to know. Why do you believe that you should continue to staple this 60-40 down? Why is that relevant to Crawford? I need a breakdown on how 40% is where you stand with this. All because Mikey Garcia? All because of Sean Porter and Danny Garcia? Errol Spence requested 60%. But you remember he was at 50% with damn Carlos Ocampo. I think we're gonna sit up here and create a whole nother damn universe on YouTube. They try to say it's a YouTube boxing community, but that ain't true. There's no way that you can say YouTube is a community where the topic of boxing is treated fairly and in good standing, where people could talk about it in a way that is full of respect. And the comments are neutral. The comments is far from being neutral. Is so heavy on one side, where in one breath you want to talk about the ranking systems, right? And what fighters should be next in line, and then you turn back around and the fighters already have earned their slot and they're up there at the top. You're trying to pretend like they haven't did shit to get there. But the fighter who you're trying to place up there to be in the same company of these fighters who paid their dues, you don't have a reason for your push for them to get there except a popularity contest. It's a popularity contest. What they mean to certain people, which motivates them to speak on that person. What that boxer mean to certain people that motivates them to speak on that person. And right now, that boxer is Boots. They love saying Boots names. Boots, Boots. And once again, I don't like Boots. I like him as a fighter. I know for a fact he is the next, guard that's going to be up there. He is the next in this generation. He's not going to be at welterweight for too long. And he's definitely not going to unify the entire division. Boots is going to pick up a title here, and he's going to move up to 54. Boots' career will probably more than likely end at light heavyweight. Boots is not a small dude. So he would definitely be a 4 division champion, but potentially, in my opinion. 47, 54, 68, 75. I see him ending his career at how young he is right now and where he's at. He's definitely going to be a minimal of a 4 division champion when it's all over with. His higher division would be 175. I'm just saying minimal. I'm not saying he can't move up to those other weight classes outside of 175. I'm just saying where I see him going and what his potential is. Now, a lot of things can happen in between there, but to be honest with you, my primary concern is it's all dependent on how I don't know how this timepiece play out with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I would say for Terrence Crawford, man. Just like you've been making a decision. Now you're at a point where you can have a lot more leeway and authority over your shit, right? If you feel that you're capable and you want to make that move to 54, do it. It's not going to ruin your career. If you feel there's a lot of bullshit going on and Errol Spence don't want to budge on it, and you feel that you rate more money, goddamn, go do something else. Go 54. You're already a 3-weight champion. You're already a 3-weight champion. Let me see. So this shit just popped up, right? Terrence Bud Crawford is expected to sit and wait for a hot to fight against Thurman in the first half of 2022, rather than take a risky match against one of the lions targeting him. And once again, this is Boxing News 24, who they can be extremely biased towards their unfavorable fighters. They see Crawford as food at this point. Well, they see Errol Spence as food too. And they have no fear of him, especially after his less than impressive performance against Sean Porter. And see, this is different authors, different writers at Boxing News 24. And some of them, when they write these biased, eye-catching articles, it's just to be extremely denigrating, the level of criticism towards whoever the primary topic is of the article. And that's how they get people to tune in. They see there's too much dough that Crawford can make against a highly charismatic Thurman, but Bud to throw it all away by taking on one of the younger talents and want to take advantage of him, having lost a couple of steps due to age. But peep this out though. He said having lost a couple of steps due to age, but him and Sean Porter's the same age, and he stopped Sean Porter. So who's aging who? This is what I'm saying. Some of these people who's busy on these home keys and shit. Sometimes they looking at TV and up here sipping on wine, and they just have to get into the mood, and they put some bullshit out here on these articles. I can just as well write my own and do the same thing. Believe me, I can go ahead and do the same thing and be petty and post that shit and put it all over on social media. Despite being rated highly on the pound for pound list, Crawford hasn't made the considerable money that some of his predecessors like Floyd Jr. and Oscar De La Hoya hauled in during their long careers. People are now talking about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Oscar De La Hoya. 2 fighters out of many. So the measuring stick for Crawford is Floyd Mayweather and Oscar. Find several other fighters that have made Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya money. The only one that's really out here doing that and getting paid extensively is Canelo Alvarez like that. I'm talking about, his fights and all that shit. So this guy's just being extremely biased, man. He said Crawford hasn't tasted big money yet. According to the Celebrity Network, Crawford's net worth is $8 million, which is good money, but way behind Mayweather's $450 million and De La Hoya's $200 million. Crawford is just ahead of Errol Spence $7 million. Crawford is just ahead of Errol Spence $7 million. But that would change soon. Errol is expected to take WBA welterweight champion Yordenis Ugas next in the World Boxing Association approved unification fight. To be sure, Crawford didn't look impressive in his recent victory over the gatekeeper. They call him Sean Porter a gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? They call him a gatekeeper just because it's Crawford. That is absolutely insane, because if I say some gatekeeper type shit, they say, how? No, I'll take that back. They say they might agree. They might, yeah, Sean Porter's a gatekeeper. But what was he when he fought Errol Spence, though? Oh, he was on top of his game. He was in his prime. You know what I'm saying? This guy's all the way biased, man. Crawford was barely ahead on the pass. Ahead of the past his prime Showtime Porter when he stopped him in the 10th round. See, once again, the credibility is to be questioned here because they're both the same age, man. What is this dude doing? Somebody need to check his blood and urine, dog. You're talking some bullshit. Who the fuck is this guy? Let me go up here and see who the fuck is this guy, man. Who's Chris Williams again? Dude. Chris, you be on some bullshit sometime, dog. You got your slew of fighters that you support heavy, but you be on some absolute toilet water, dog. Crawford 38-0, 29 knockouts, is being chased by the highly dangerous. I read that already. Ennis and Ortiz Jr. are like a couple young lions that see the headline having lost some teeth and claws from the age and wear and tear of many battles. The fuck is this nigga talking about? Those two are ready to rip Crawford to shreds once they get the opportunity to face him, which is what Bud is expected to take a wide berth around them to wait for his massive payday fight against Thurman. When did this dude start writing? 3 days ago? Also, undefeated 140-pound champion Josh Taylor is hot on Crawford's heel, wanting to relieve him of his WBO strap in 22. Taylor, for one, he has a fight coming up. And two, yeah, he's an undisputed champion. He's at 140. How can he be on the heels of anything? You know what I'm saying? Unless he's low crawling. He's going to be on the heel of a lot of people. He's not even in that division yet. Has already sized Crawford up and feels he got the beating of him, and many boxing fans believe he'll be too much for the Nebraska native. With the risk that Ennis, Virgil, and Taylor present to Crawford, you can't blame him if he chooses to sit and wait for Thurman fight, because there's too much money at stake for that contest. Wow. Oh my God, yo. Speaking of Taylor, he'll be defending his 140-pound belts against number one Jack Catterall on February 26th in Glasgow, Scotland. Let me see. Trying to. All right. After that fight, Taylor is expected to move up to 47 to seek an immediate title shot against Crawford in 22. Okay, we'll see I mean, I've heard that before, but once again, you see how people are talking about different subjects, different topics. You see how different this guy's talking than the YTC. The mainstream media they have different language. Like is we can still say it's convoluted and biasness, but the bias is even different. Like the bias on YouTube is one way traffic. It's over here in mainstream media is you. Let's just take a 4-lane highway. They're trying to drive on every lane to put fighters' names out there that potentially may fight Crawford. On YouTube, all they're doing is with one-way traffic and oncoming motherfucking congestion. You know, how they put it. You about to get in that. What's that word they use? Anyway, you know, with YouTube, they just sit up here and place one-way traffic that's not even that has no options, no exits. It's just one way. You're driving until you believe that you're gonna get to that destination. That's how YouTube is. They just keep on saying the same thing. Mainstream media, they kind of provide you with those exits. They kind of give you the option on this could happen, that can happen. Like you see how they was talking about Crawford potentially not wanting to fight one of the young lions, but yet they did put Thurman in there, and the fact that he'll make pretty decent money with Thurman. But then they provided you another lane of Josh Taylor moving up a 140. See, on YouTube, you don't hear hardly any of that shit. But the one thing I'm saying was still rhetoric. Like obviously this guy is up here talking about a lion who has lost teeth and claws. And he past his prime. Sean Porter was past his prime. You know what I'm saying? And he was stopped by Terrence. But then you turn around and look at BoxRec. Both of these cats are 34. Oh man, I really need to get back on my stilo, man, and put this keyboard to work and start putting articles out. But I don't do with other people. You know, I'm not gonna just do it just because people just here talking, typing some bullshit all the time, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I should have fun with this shit too, and just put some bullshit out for Christmas. Stilo on deck. What's good with you, bro? Ennis versus Virgil or someone. Let the young man go. Learn. I like the mentality of both Ortiz and Ennis when it comes down to it. I like it. They both ain't ready for any champions at 147. Papa Lot James in the building. What's good? WCS over here cooking today. Appreciate you pulling up. Everybody that's on deck. If Thurman wins, which he should, that's the biggest fight for Crawford as far as money. Both fighters already have established purses. LOL. However, the Mexican community will support Virgil versus Bud. Here we go with the Mexican community. I mean, the community as a whole is going to support the fight. The community as a whole. Now we can once again applaud the Mexican community when it comes to a black fighter. But look how much confusion that is. We have the YTC community pushing Ennis. Mainstream media is talking about Thurman. You see where I'm going with this? Mainstream media is talking about Thurman. Also, the mainstream media is talking about Josh Taylor fighting Terrence Crawford next year. They're not really inserting Errol Spencer's name like that because Errol has people he has to fight too. So the discouragement is this is all fantasy talk. When is this shit's gonna really take place? You know what I'm saying? When are we really gonna be able to put this fight in the oven and know it's gonna be, you know, a done sir done type of deal and we're ready to eat. We're ready to sit back. We put our money on PPV and we got something very interesting on the horizon. When are we gonna be able to damn just settle into that shit, pour our drink, and get ready, get the popcorn, and let's go. Let's see this fight. When is the big question. Ghost said when Crawford stops Josh Taylor, they're gonna say Josh Taylor was too small. Look, as I just read in the article, and the fact that Bud Crawford ran across Josh Taylor when he was about to, prior to his fight with Sean Porter, they was up here jumping on the damn keys. Oh man, Josh Taylor looked way bigger than Crawford. Josh Taylor was this. Josh Taylor was that. And da da da. Well, guess what? I hope he does get the fight. I hope he does get the fight with Josh Taylor. Then you can hear the YouTube community. Oh man, I don't know Crawford. He's gonna have a hard time with Josh Taylor because, both of them was unified at 140. listen, hear me out, y'all. This is how the damn narrative is gonna go. Both of them was unified at 140, dog. But if you look at Jose Ramirez, who Josh Taylor fought, man, that was way better than Julius Ndongo, dog. So the edge, I'm giving the edge to Josh Taylor coming up here, dog. And then the question is asked, well, how do you give him the edge if he haven't had a fight at 147? Because, dog, he fought Jose Ramirez. That's better competition than 140, dog. Julius Ndongo, he was nothing for Crawford, dog. It was just like a gift. He gift wrapped them titles to Crawford. So Josh Taylor, in my opinion, is more prepared to move from 140 to 47 and get a win over Crawford. I'm telling you. He fought the better opposition at 40. But what about the opposition that Crawford fought at 147? He has 6 stoppages. That don't mean shit. Who did he fight? That doesn't mean nothing. That don't mean shit, dog. Who did he fight? Jeff Horn? Man, come on. Who knows Jeff Horn? I mean, I'm telling you, man, that's how the shit's gonna go, bro. Real talk, that's how it's gonna go, man. Real talk, that's how the shit gonna go. I don't know if y'all want to hear this or not, but I want to ask y'all a question. Who do you think if Artur Beterbiev was to face Canelo Alvarez after seeing his performance against Marcus Brown? Who do you think wins that fight? Who do you think wins that fight? Seeing the way he stalked and broke down Marcus Brown. I know Showtime said that this shit was hilarious. He said Derrick James to the ropes. To the ropes. Derrick James over there telling Marcus Brown, to the ropes. Retreat to the ropes. Who do you think win between Canelo Alvarez and Artur Beterbiev? Who's your pick? Because that's a very good fight we'd like to see in the future. Real talk. We'd like to see that fight. We would like to see that fight. And another thing that slipped my mind, right? Do you notice in the YTC community how they're not talking about Cambosis shit no more because they really don't truly know? They don't know. Like the blasphemy of how Teofimo caught all the backlash when he was the champion. He loses in a fashion for which people just look at the flash knockdown, but they ignore the fact on how he was able to still get the knockdown later on in the fight against Cambosis. But you know how that shit is just fizzled? They're fizzled. Like, why are y'all not pushing the same energy behind that? Where's the vigor? You know what I'm saying? Where's the fortitude? Where's all that internal energy that you was pushing to see this fight? You should be pushing Devin Haney Cambosis, right? Just like y'all was pushing Devin Haney Teofimo Lopez. Where's all that damn tenaciousness, man? That growl. Where is it? Where is it? How can this shit just fizzle away and now we all interested Just because we leaving, 2021, now we want to talk about boots, boots, boots. And then you already hear what the main media is saying. The main media is just putting Boots and Virgil Ortiz, right there outside, and they're looking in. You know what I'm saying? They see the damn season lions feasting. They see what's upcoming, but they're not pushing one particular name. They pretty much understand like there's already other lions that's going to get that shot potentially because their name is bigger. Keith Thurman's name is bigger than Boots Ennis. It doesn't matter what anybody say about what he's done, who he married, how he's acting. His Keith Thurman's name is still better and higher in appraisal than Boots Ennis. Period. He was a former unified champion, and Boots Ennis have not even earned that type of accolade to talk. Just because Keith Thurman never fought Errol Spence, their boy. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't freaking matter because Keith Thurman didn't have to do anything if he was injured. If you call it a duck, call it a duck. I do in a sense, but I can't call it a duck if the man was really truly injured and he didn't have confidence or whatever's going on to step in there and give Errol Spence that call, that fight. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at who Errol Spence has fought, yeah, look, he was in the same position as Terrence Crawford. He was an IBF champion. And they was nothing like Errol Spence. Errol Spence, he should get it. He should get it. He should get it. But he was in the same position as Crawford. The only title he had at that time was the IBF. Thurman was a unified WBC and WBA. I got Arthur, but bias is I know people in that camp and Arthur himself. I like Beterbiev, man. I'm not gonna go off who I like, you know what I'm saying, per se, because a lot of people are gonna say, well, Beterbiev will beat the shit out of Canelo because he popped dirty and clenbuterol. I'm talking about the fight itself. I like what I seen with Beterbiev, the way he gives you that present pressure. You know what I'm saying? The only reason he was bleeding like that because Marcus Brown has been practicing his rhino entry. You know what I'm saying? They've been practicing that shit in the gym. Marcus Brown cut open Badu Jack the same way. He been practicing that shit. Hold on for a minute. So, I just want to see that fight, man, because like I was saying about Marcus Brown, man, he cut open Badu Jack the same way. He's been practicing that dirty ass move. And but the difference between Badu Jack didn't have a sense of urgency in the fight period, but it didn't really affect Beterbiev. He went and still stalked him. Like Marcus had to cut on his forehead, and he was tasting blood. You know what I'm saying? It would be a good fight. I think he really gives it to Canelo Alvarez, and he may potentially give Canelo Alvarez his second loss. Real talk. It'd be like Triple G versus Canelo, but Archer stops Canelo. Yeah, I'd be highly surprised if we get a Beterbiev fight that plays out like Callum Smith. I'd be highly surprised, people. I look at Beterbiev in a different light than that Callum Smith dude. That Callum Smith dude didn't even come up to have no sense of urgency. He wasn't competitive. He didn't have that spirit to win. He just went up there tall and he barely threw any punches, dog. W says, who do you got in Morrell Jr. versus David Benny? That's a good one I like to see, man. We'll see. Like Morrell, he's solid. He's solid, bro. He's solid. I know a lot of people weren't expecting that Morrell fight to end the way it did. Anthony Jones on deck. What's good? He said, bro, what do you think about Pena winning? I would say a ways back, I said this already, how she was injured, how she got her shot. You know what I'm saying? She was moving up and she ended up tearing her knee out, blowing her knee out or whatever. And she was always that tough opponent, like the Venezuela vixen. Like that's who she is. She's like, she has a different type of toughness to her. She's sexy, but yet she got that spice to her. And she was how you put it? How do you put it in words with Pena? Not unrelenting, but she refused to quit at a lot of shit she did. Like she had stuff going on outside the cage that you could see it kind of affected her when she was fighting. So when she faced that downward, situation, she had to have an operation and all that. I was like, damn, she seemed like she was so close. Like Thug Rose Namajunas. Namajunas was so close to getting the title shot and stepping in there again against Karolina Kowalskiewicz, but she lost. With Pena, she was kind of in the same damn position. But what I didn't see from Amanda Nunes was that equal lioness aggression that we were seeing when she picked up the titles. Like when she picked up that bantamweight title, and when she picked up that featherweight title against Chris Cyborg, she was just a totally different animal, man. She was a totally different animal. She was standing in there. She looked slow. She looked like she had her baby. I'm being honest. I'm not being disrespectful. Amanda Nunes act like she was coming off a pregnancy. She was slow. She wasn't moving her. She wasn't being mobile. She wasn't even using the girth of the cage to freaking move around and get away from those punches. She was just standing there like Chris Cyborg. And look, people was getting on me because I was trying to explain to them how the shit works just like in boxing. It should happen in combat sports, period. Like, you know how they say about Sean Porter and all that, right? He was looking for a way out. He was going to take time off. So he pretty much, surrendered. Well, Amanda Nunes, with a new child on deck, she looked the same way Chris Cyborg did when Amanda Nunes defeated her. Chris Cyborg stood right there in the pocket, online, kept throwing punches, knowing that wasn't smart, because she did not want to win and stay in the contract with another contract with the UFC. She would have had to basically be held accountable for 2 to 3 more fights and maintain her championship. So she just went out. She didn't take a lot of damage. She just went out. She played the role. She went out. She got knocked out. The fight was stopped. Boom. On to Bellator, where she picked up a title several weeks later. Well, Amanda Nunes, she's been the champ for quite some time now. So it's more like she has other shit going on. She looked terrible, dog. Look at the way she submitted Amanda Nunes. Amanda is a high level BJJ practitioner, right? So is Pena. It wasn't even any scrambling, any transitions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, It was really no 2-on-1 effort to stop the choke from happening. Pena didn't have to insert the hooks on the left and right side to really straighten and flatten out her opponent. She sunk in a choke damn near in side control, and she really didn't have like that strong base to use her hips to bend backwards to apply that force to Amanda Nunes to choke her out. It's just crazy, man. That shit was wild. Like Amanda Nunes tapped out and from a rear naked choke, and Pena was shocked herself. Like Pena was shocked that Amanda tapped out because what she was going to try to do is apply pressure up top while she works the right hook. Once she would have got that right hook in, of course she would have tried to set the second hook in and flatten her out with the choke, and it would have made her that much tighter. But Amanda Nunes, man, she tapped out, dog, from something that still looked innocuous. It didn't even look like it was tight yet. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. That I don't want to go too far into that because it's a boxing. But I appreciate you dropping that, dog. Let me get to Anthony's other comment. Let me see. It was just weird. You know, I've seen that shit before, but it brought me to the point of Chris Cyborg. Boom, she was out. She went to Bellator, picked up another chip. She didn't want to stay with the UFC. Amanda Nunes probably at this point in time, being a mother, she's more dedicated to starting off her family. She's still the featherweight champion. You know what I'm saying? She's still the champion at 145. But it's hardly any competition that she would have to continue to return to the cage to fight. You know what I'm saying? So Pena now takes that over, and don't be shocked that, you know, give it several months that Amanda Nunes may come back and try to challenge for that 135 title. Don't be surprised that they have a rematch. They might have a rematch. Nothing much, bro. I was happy for her. Does the baby make the line there soft? Didn't seem in it for real. You know what I'm saying? I agree, dog. Kids do that. Kids are supposed to, you know, soften you up a little bit. For real, especially if you there from their birth. You know what I'm saying? You see your kid born and everything, their eyes pop up, their first sound that they make and everything. That might have been, dog. For real. You know, Amanda Nunes look, in my opinion, for what I've seen, she looked bad. Like just the way she was swinging was so amateurish. Like she wasn't even using no head movement. And then when she was getting hit, she didn't even back up. She was doing the same shit Chris Cyborg did when she got knocked out. It's just Pena didn't have that speed and power to drop Nunes like that for the referee to step in and stop it. Nunes just turtled up. She turtled up. That's basically going into her secret place, a place of comfort, so the fans don't have to see her face. And then, you know, she knows Pena's gonna take her back. So that's why she was in a turtle position. She's making it a little bit hard, a little bit more difficult for Pena to put her hooks in. And then in the process, Pena just said, you know what? I'm gonna work this choke. And if she fights it, then it may loosen up or clear up some space on the right-hand side so she can run her leg, split down the middle, put one hook in, and then work for the left hook. But she tapped. Amanda didn't want it as bad as Pena did. Man, Pena wanted that shit. Pena's been where Amanda's at. Look, Pena had a baby, and she was out the sport for a while. She came back fueled, boy. The Venezuela vixen, boy. It didn't look like a full choke. I agree, man. Thanks, bro. You got the full breakdown on women. Nobody better. Appreciate you pulling up, bro. You know what I'm saying? I just don't let me start talking about MMA because I'm glad to see Pena return. I'm glad, bro. I'm glad she finally got her shot, just like my girl Thug Rose. I'm glad, man. I'm glad she got it in. But to go back to the Canelo Beterbiev, I'm going for Canelo. I'm going for Beterbiev. I mean, I like how he fight. I think he's strong enough to not sit up here and take a back step to Canelo. Somehow I see that fight, somebody getting stopped for real. We already seen Beterbiev get a bad cut on his head, and it didn't change his expression or nothing, man. It only moved him further, closer and closer to tyranny, dog. He wanted to inflict damage on Marcus Brown. And then when Brown did that shit and he opened up that cut, I kind of was discouraged from like I wanted to see him go in there and do well. But now, since I was at the Marcus Brown Badu Jack fight, and I seen the massacre, the Crimson Massacre, all the blood everywhere, and to see that shit play off against Beterbiev, it kind of turned me off. Like, man, you've been practicing this shit in the gym. You've been practicing your entry and butting heads to the point where it doesn't affect him as much as it does his opponent. And you gave that man a good inch. For real. You split him open real good, just like you did Badu Jack. And that right there, I say, nah, fuck that, man. I don't even want to watch this shit, dog. Like, I still watched it, but I was like, Marcus been practicing this shit in the gym, dog. He is probably the best Cuban pro in the last 20 years. Give it 5 more fights and everyone will see. And the scary thing is, y'all only seen like 5% of his tools. The man made Julio Cesar La Cruz look average as a 19-year-old man. It wasn't nice seeing that fight in person. That boy is very skilled. He's a new level boxer for that weight. That's what's up, man. Good shit dropping, some of these younger fighters into the damn chat, so people can get a feel of certain names. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know every boxer name down to the deepest part of it, but it's good to be introduced to certain fighters. Just like the Dominican kid Patrick Cora, that's undefeated right now. And I end up finding out who he was. He sparred Edgar Berlanga Sunday. I was thinking about staying there if I could, actually sit in and watch that sparring. But I decided against it because, for one, I wanted to get home. The weather was this, that, and the other. 2, it was expensive as shit over there. So I would have liked to stay over there and seen him and Edgar Berlanga spar. But it's good to be introduced to another up and coming riser. Follow him on IG, man. He's a DR fighter, Patrick Cora, I believe, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's nice size for his weight class. I believe he's a super welter. I mean, dude is just as tall as I am. I think he's like 6'3". You know what I'm saying? Got good height on him. Good size. And he seems like he has decent power, man. He's from the DR, Dominican Republic. No, I take that back. Puerto Rican. I don't want to get that shit. I want to get that shit incorrect. Let me do this man justice and look him up right quick. I don't want to fuck his shit up. I'll make sure I get this stuff correctly, his information correctly. Yeah, Puerto Rican. He's 10-0. He's from Puerto Rico. Super welter. Patrick Cora. Be sure to check him out, man. He's undefeated, 10-0. He fights at super welter. That guy Eclipse on deck. What's good? World Combat Sports. Peace to you, OG. Peace to you, OG. How you feeling, bro? Hey, Anthony. If you have any other words about that, cool. I was just really cooking on. I was just over here just speaking about, the saga that continues with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence situation. And I read an article where they're pretty much mentioning Jerome Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, but yet they're basically putting it out there for conversation that he has plans to fight Keith Thurman. As in the YTC, all you hear is Boots Ennis at this point in time. It's still Crawford Spence, but Spence has people he has to fight. He has Yordenis Ugas coming up. After Yordenis Ugas, they're still talking as if we may get a unification match, right, for Undisputed. But then you read mainstream media, they're basically including all the ingredients, all the potentials. You have Virgil Ortiz and Jerome Ennis, who's waiting in line. But yet there's a potential fight for Terrence Crawford. We know Terrence Crawford just fought last month. So if he's fighting Keith Thurman, that will make for a very good fight. He's a former unified welterweight world champion. So that'll make for a good fight. So in between time, we'll just have to sort out if we potentially will see Crawford Spence. I don't care how many of y'all that sit up here and believe that y'all get more information than I get. Look, information I get from people that I know too at these promotions, I don't put it all out there on live because I don't live off of YouTube. One thing I know about YouTube, you're going to make your money, but you ain't going to become a damn multimillionaire off this shit. Not when they getting 30%. On top of the 30%, what you get, you have to get taxed on that shit. I'm not desperate like I'm already retired, man. I retired at 37, bro. I'm just not breaking news. Some of the shit I know, I just keep for myself. Really, when it comes down to it, and you say you're the first to say it, it's like people, they look at the numbers. Oh, how many subscribers? I don't give a damn. You look at my subscribers or not. I don't give a damn. All I care about is the individuals that show up at the live chat, and they drop the boxing content, and we able to communicate off that. EJ running from Bud to fight Ugas. I want Ugas to whip EJ now. When I look at that, I'm saying if you really want the fight, it could happen this, that, and the other. But yet people are gonna say if Bud wanted to fight. But no, if Bud wanted to fight right now, he'd get the same energy he got when they met face to face. Why wouldn't I take the easy route and go, fight Sean Porter? I guess again, he feel that Yordenis Ugas is the easy route. Even though he's picking up another title, I know Errol Spence feel deep down inside that Yordenis Ugas is the easy route. Rather than just saying, you know what, I'm confident in myself, let me go ahead and fight Crawford. He could have. But see, the difference between Crawford and Ugas is Ugas may be in a better position to capitulate for the numbers. I don't think Crawford is going to be that way. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to be that subservient type of dude to say, give me anything you want and it's good. Just throw a number out there at me. Throw a number. 20? All right, cool. 20, cool. What a pen at? Somebody get the documents. Get the paperwork. Get a pen. Get a pen. 20. Wow, man, I appreciate that. I thought you was going to give me 5. I thought you was going to give me 5. I thought it was going to be 95.5. Damn, dog. Man, you a good dude, man. You giving me 20 out this motherfucker? Thanks, man. See, you're not going to get that from Crawford, man. You're not going to get that shit, dog. Now, I don't know what, I don't think you're going to get that from Ugas either, but, he's not going to be the one to sit up here and and to make it extremely difficult. And I really hope Ugas had the best fight of his life. Come on there, Yordenis Ugas. Have the best, represent the Cuban, the Cuban boxers all over, man. Go in there. And I'm telling you, bro, go in there and make it happen, man. You can make this fight happen. If Yordenis Ugas is not cashing out, because they have those conversations. Like if he's not cashing out like Tyrone Woodley, then we're gonna have a good fight. But if he cashing out like Tyrone Woodley, man, it's gonna suck. Because now when we get to look at Errol Spence have 3 belts, and then his pundits start typing and creating thumbnails. Now what, Crawford? Now what, Crawford? He got 3 belts. 1 subtract 3. He has, let me see, what's that? Let me see. 1, 2, 3. He has 3 more belts than you. Let me stop, dog. I just get tired of them talking about how many belts he has right now. Like, he has more belts. He only has 1 more belt, dog, and they're all championships. You know what I'm saying? But when he get this WBA, he has 3 more belts than Crawford. How did he get man 40 is a gift? No, man, we want to see this shit different. For real. If you didn't hear already, man, Ryan Garcia somehow, some way is back in training for whatever reason after he had a hand injury. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what's going on with the debacle with the Tyson Fury mix up. You know, it just seems like the heavyweight division has stalled out. Like, really, people want to see that Deontay Wilder fight somebody over there, Anthony Joshua, somebody. But now that Fury has the belt, that shit is just absolutely just hit a standstill of talking points. You don't hear shit about it. They don't know if Fury gonna fight White. They mentioned Andy Ruiz's name. Now Joseph Parker won another shot at freaking Dillian White. This shit is all over the place, y'all. This shit is all over the place. What y'all think about Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios, dog? Mario Barrios moving up. What do y'all think about that fight? The Aztec Warrior. Do you believe that Keith Thurman has a better showing than he did against Manny Pacquiao to the point where he's able to stop Mario Barrios? Do you think Mario moving up in weight that we might see just a decision? I'm thinking a decision, dog. This is why. I really think it's going to decision because, for one, Keith Thurman need to put some rounds in. And it gives Mario Barrios some life in the welterweight division. Like, he may take an L against Keith Thurman, but for Keith Thurman's sake, he need to put some rounds in to prepare him for Crawford, because he's been out the ring for quite some time. So, you know, shake off the rust. You really don't. He's not going to go in there and stop Mario Barrios like that in the early rounds. I don't think, like, from 5, I'll say 5 or 6 rounds, I don't see him going in there stopping Mario Barrios like that. Barrios is tough, man. He bringing the Aztec Warrior with him. He's a tough dude. I like Barrios, but he is stepping in there with a different, in a different division and a different caliber fighter, right? So we haven't seen that one time show up. If that one time shows up, then we tell a different story. But we just looking at the no time that showed up against Manny Pacquiao, and then we look at Barrios coming off a loss to Tank Davis. It's a pretty good matchup for a decision win for Keith Thurman. Shout out to Knockout Boxing 86 TV, man, on deck. Y'all be sure to check that brother out. Subscribe to his channel, man, and go check out his content, man. You know, good, solid boxing breakdowns. Welterweight will be one step closer to undisputed after this Spence Ugas fight. I'm wondering to myself, how would Crawford fans be feeling if Crawford versus Ugas was announced? I can't speak for the entire masses of the fans that knock out, but I can say for myself, I wouldn't treat it like, the only thing that really is extremely important and the topic of the conversation is these damn percentage numbers, which I really don't like integrating myself deeply into these percentages because I don't have any influence on them. But if Terrence Crawford were fighting Ugas, I would be more excited for the matchup. And also, of course, I would be more excited to see Crawford go in there against another champion in the welterweight division to fight for that WBA title. Absolutely, I will. Because, you know, common sense would say, it evens the playing field. It levels the playing field out a little bit more. He has 2 belts. Errol Spence has 2 belts. It's been draining, and there's so much time and effort spent in talking about numbers all the time. When in fact, if Terrence Crawford would have had the opportunity to pick up another strap, it would of course level the playing field. But then it comes into play. Will the Spencer Holics start rioting on YouTube, still talking about 60-40? Who gives a fuck about the WBA belt? That's what I think will happen. He fought Ugas. Who the fuck is Ugas? I just think the highlight all of a sudden is going to be like Errol Spence is going to go in there and beat Ugas, and he's going to have 3 belts to Crawford's 1. Think it's something different than what we've seen with Canelo and Caleb Plant. It still doesn't say it's automatic that Terrence Crawford is willing to surrender at anything. He's just not that dude. He's not going to sit up here and surrender just because another belt is in the ownership of Errol Spence. And then all of a sudden 60-40 is something that he has to take. He don't need Errol Spence to knock out. He don't need him, bro. Errol Spence needs Crawford. He needs it because his declaration was to unify the welterweight division. But to answer your question, absolutely. I'll be happy. If he was fighting Ugas, I'll be happy. I'll be like, shit, he's fighting for the WBA title. Kudos, man. Boom, he wins. Now he has 2 straps. Spence has 2 straps. It's somewhere that bridges us to a closer calendar for them 2 to fight. That's all I'm saying. Good comment, man. Keith Thurman hasn't stopped anyone in 7 years. Yeah, I heard that. I read that. I know that. Understood. You're right. He has fought 4 times in 6 years. Hard to see him stopping anyone. True words. True words. But, you have to take in consideration that Mario Barrios is coming off a stoppage. He's moving up in weight. And, even though he's a tall and he's going to, kind of blend in with the welterweight division pretty decent as far as size goes. Because on fight night when he fought Tank, he had some pretty good size on him. Like that was a welterweight in there that Tank was fighting. Barrio was a welterweight that night. I saw it. I saw that shit up close and personal. He was a welterweight that night. But we all know, just like Knockout just mentioned, that Keith Thurman has been on a long hiatus. And it's been a while since we've seen one time. But what we can say, he's been in there with some of the top names. He's been there with some of the top names that we are also putting on the plates of these active champions that is currently reigning in the welterweight division. He's been in there with the Danny Garcias and Sean Porters. He's been in there with Manny Pacquiao. Even though he didn't have the best showing, he was there. But one thing I would say about not fighting he only fought 4 times in 6 years, is that seems to be the normality now with these fighters. They fight once or twice a year. These fighters are getting paid pretty decent to the point where they're only jumping in fight camp once a year almost. They're not even fighting. You don't even find individuals like this already at a point where they feel like, okay, they got a world title, this, that, and that. You're not even seeing them fight 3 times a year like that. They're not doing it. Like, they're not putting in those Hummy McGeer numbers when Hummy had fought like 5 times in 1 year. They're not putting in their Xander Zayas numbers, who fought 6 times this year. I know he's a prospect, so to speak, and he's just, inflating his record. But I'm just saying, bro, like, you rarely get fighters fighting twice a year. But Keith Thurman will put in some rounds because he haven't been on the grid. He haven't been in that square grid for a while. And it'll be good for him to go and put some damn time in with Barrios. pick up the win, hand Barrios his second loss, but yet allow him a life reserve for his next fight at welterweight. He's gonna, Mario Barrios, in my opinion, might be like a Jesse Vargas at welterweight. He might be like a Mikey Garcia. They're there, but people not really calling for them. Like, hey, I want to see Mario Barrios. He hasn't staked his claim yet. And I really don't think the fight's going to be extremely entertaining like we've seen some other fights. I don't think the fight like Gervonta Davis and Mario Barrios gave the boxing fans, I don't think we're going to get that same radiated energy from Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios. And if he doesn't take the fight, at that point he is ducking, in my opinion, homie. Turning down your biggest payday and a chance at undisputed in your second weight class should override your pride. Let me see. And if he doesn't, let me see, who is he talking? And if he doesn't take the fight at the point he is ducking, in my opinion, turning down your biggest payday and a chance at undisputed in your second weight class will override your pride. I don't know, pride, man. Pride and ducking, I don't know if they go really together a lot. Like, is it truly pride or the fact that he want to get paid what it's worth? Because when I hear this knockout, when I hear that people reference, getting the money, that's what it's about, getting the money, that knockout. Then I look at it like, okay, if Crawford want to get that money, why y'all talking about pride? Like, if he's trying to get that money and y'all saying Errol Spencer's doing better numbers and Crawford having sold and Bob Arum talking about he lost on him, could have bought a house in Beverly Hills. At this point in his career, what should be Crawford's primary focal point? Making money, right? He should be making money. So when it comes down to it, his age, 34, three-weight champion, he should have extreme amount of patience when it comes to this negotiation process. Why should he have haste to appease Errol Spence, who's done very minimal in his boxing career? He's a two-time world champion in a single division. What is his landscape? What's remaining in his landscape in boxing? And why should Terrence Bud Crawford not negotiate his worth just like Caleb Plant did against Canelo Alvarez? Why shouldn't he negotiate his worth, bro? He should negotiate his worth. People can't say it's all about the money, but for Crawford, it should be all about the titles. No, fuck that. It should be about the money when it comes to Crawford, just like everybody else. Just like Caleb Plant, and just like everybody else negotiated their worth. Content as always. Thought WCS keep grinding. No, man, you keep grinding, man. It's all respect. I appreciate you pulling up, bro. And once again, y'all be sure to check out Knockout, man, doing his thing over there. Definitely sub to the channel, man. I tune in his shit, even though I ain't in them live chat a lot. Dude is thorough with his boxing shit. The way he break down and provide that conducive boxing content, man. So y'all go over there and check him out and hit the bell icon and subscribe to his channel, man. But that's going to be the bigger story, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like Bud, he has every right to negotiate his worth. And, I hear people talking about, Bill talk about the money, get the money, get the money, get the money. So how is it going to play out, though, when you talk about get the money, but yet when it comes to the big fights, you blow it because you're trying to say it's all about the money, but yet you have to include legacy. So what are we fighting for? Legacy still a big deal in boxing, or it's just all about the money? So if it's all about the money, you can continue to fight less than dangerous opposition or fighters outside the championship caliber just to pick up paychecks. But yet when you finally come to the head-to-head negotiation table and you have a top tier name in front of you to fight. You can't outprice yourself, but yet you can't sit up here and just listen to what everybody's saying on this YouTube shit and say, hey, let me just sit up here and sing I Surrender. You remember that? You remember that church song? For those of you that went to church, it's called I Surrender All. I surrender all. I surrender all. No, this is not the case, man. We ain't talking about, or you could say DJ Khaled song. I surrender. He got a different beat to it. But the word itself, surrender. If it's all about the money, then y'all should be saying that Crawford should take what's that 60-40, and that's what he should take. Why? Caleb Plant wasn't up here laying on his motherfucking back, allowing motherfucker to step on his neck, put out ashes on him and shit, put out cigarette butts and treat him like he garbage. No, man, same thing. Canelo had 3 belts going over there to Caleb Plant, and Caleb made it worth his while. Why shouldn't Crawford make it worth his money? I'm asking y'all. It's a valid question. Why am I hearing these people say 60-40 like y'all just didn't see the drama play out between Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant? There was 1 belt remaining, and Caleb Plant was patient, and he got paid a hefty amount of money, dog. Over 10 mics. He got paid over 10 mics. So therefore, when it comes to Crawford, I guess he don't have the complexion for the protection, and y'all just sitting up here, yeah, man, just take them jars of quarters and dimes and nickels over there, and there's some pennies in there too. Just take that shit and be very satisfied that you even in this position for real. All right. I find it very unfortunate that you're actually trying to advocate or basically negotiate your worth, man. Come on, man. We don't have time for that. We're trying to get Errol, because Errol made the declaration that he wanted to be welterweight undisputed. And it's taking him motherfucking 15 years to even come close to doing this shit. The boxing fans are freaking bored at this point with this conversation. Now Eddie Hearn saying Chisora beats Deontay Wilder if it goes past 4. Chisora refusing to retire after Parker lost. Oh my God, dog. Let me close out with my other topics. I'm definitely gonna be doing a live like I always do. I always give the breakdown of the pound for pound mixed martial arts, UFC breakdown. I'm definitely, since they have split it, I'm definitely going to talk about the pound for pound list and give y'all a thorough breakdown on the pound for pound list of the UFC rankings. And that goes for male and female. Because when it comes down to the pound for pound ranking, it's a very intriguing story on the pound for pound list. Like I mentioned earlier, I sit up here and watch certain people move up the list, certain people that was at the top of the list descend, due to their loss or stuff like that. I've seen individuals like Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling switch positions in the most eccentric way, because when it comes down to voting criteria, Peter Yan was the bantamweight title holder who landed an illegal knee on Aljamain Sterling, and Aljamain Sterling picked up the title. But if you look at the pound for pound men's list, he's nowhere in the top 15, which to me says that we have certain people that's involved in this pound for pound decision making process. They're taking shit personal. From what actually is on paper right now. What's actually on paper is that he's the champion. He's a champion. That's just like somebody who was injured in the fight and they can't go on, and another person picked up the title. It's happening in mixed martial arts. That has happened. For real. That has happened. And it's gonna continue to happen. But they have Aljamain Sterling off the top 15. You have Juan Blachowicz, who actually beat Dominic Reyes for the championship. He goes in there and loses, and he's at the bottom 15 when he was up there in the top 10. You have Glover Teixeira, who has fought and fought and fought to try to get the championship, right? And they have Glover Teixeira just out the top 10 from winning the light heavyweight title. And I'm saying to myself, like, dude has mad experience in mixed martial arts. Mad experience. You have John Jones has been out the sport for quite some time. He's saying he's retired, but his word has it. He's been training and also going through his personal shit, his personal demons. He's scheduled to come back and fight heavyweight, but they still have John Jones inside the top 7. They have John Jones inside the top 7. Look, I'm just giving you an overlay on how I do this. So listen, Dustin Poirier has beat Conor McGregor twice, right? And he goes in for his second freaking title shot again. He lost against Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was subbed out in third round. And then he goes in there and loses to Charles Oliveira in the third round. They still have him in the top 10. And he's not a champion. The only belt that he's picked up was the belt that him and Max Holloway fought for the interim to go in there and face Khabib in the title eliminator. Face Khabib Nurmagomedov before Khabib retired from the sport. So my question is, why is Glover Teixeira below Dustin Poirier? Then you have Brandon Moreno, who I absolutely like how he was able to get get another title shot against Davidson Figueiredo at flyweight division, which is 125 pounds. And they felt the need that, okay, give Moreno, he deserves another shot at the title after that controversial decision. He came in there, he defeat Figueiredo. They have him sitting at number 10, 125 pound champion, which I felt that he deserved much more than that. Like Stipe lost his title for quite some time now against Francis Ngannou. So he is without a title. Dustin Poirier is without a title. Max Holloway is without a title. And John Jones is without a title. But if you look at the top 5, right, you have Kamaru Usman in the welterweight division, who is the pound for pound best right now. Alexander Volkanovski, who is the 145 pound champion. Israel Adesanya, who is the middleweight world champion, 185. And Francis Ngannou, who's the heavyweight champion. And of course, Charles Oliveira, who is the 155 pound lightweight champion. You have John Jones, Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Stipe Miocic, right? They're all inside the top 10 in front of Brandon Moreno with no titles. Max Holloway is scheduled to fight Alexander Volkanovski, but he is without a title, shawty. Just because you had a damn good showing against Calvin Kattar and you saying you're the best boxer in there, man, dude, y'all doing Brandon Moreno wrong. That dude earned his damn flyweight championship the correct way, and he should be higher up the food chain than this. Glover Teixeira, as long as he's been in the sport and the way he defeated Juan Blachowicz, he should be within the top 10. Stipe Miocic, I know he's one of the best heavyweights to do it, but we don't know what he has going on. Okay. We don't know what he has going on. And if Francis Ngannou is number 4, how the hell can Stipe Miocic be within the top 10, dog? How, man? What are y'all doing? And then Robert Whitaker, he's scheduled to fight Israel Adesanya, who's sitting at number 3, and they're another fight between these two. Robert Whitaker, they really don't like him that much because it's hard for him to even break into the top 10, even when he had the belt. Robert Whitaker is that dude, man. He's a good dude, but his star power is just like a low wattage bulb, man. And then of course Syria Gunn, right? He's going to be set to face Francis Ngannou. Both of these guys are big, and he's sitting at 15, of course. He's sitting at 15, and him and Francis Ngannou is scheduled to fight upcoming. But you know what's wild about this, y'all? What I'm happy about is Conor McGregor is no longer on this motherfucking list, dog. They kept Conor McGregor 14 and 15 forever and a day, man. Dustin Poirier is the sole proprietor to that shit, dog. Y'all hold on for a second, man. All right, I'm back. Okay, sorry about that, man. It was a damn promoter. So that's what it is, man. I'm glad Conor McGregor's not on the top 10 pound for pound. I'm glad they removed him off the top 10 because he was just floating around and they was waiting for him to win another big fight. It just didn't happen. So, them two losses, no matter how it happened, those two losses against Dustin Poirier, yeah. But come on, Dustin. Come on, man. Y'all should have Dustin Poirier, in the back half of that top 15, bro. Real talk. But I'm gonna leave that shit like that. I'm not gonna give you too much, man. Um, Let me go to the women's pound for pound. Now, the wild part about the women's pound for pound, what's going on, D-Ray? How you feeling, bro? What's good about the women's pound for pound list? It does have merit to it. Kinko sits atop the pound for pound women's division in the UFC. And let's give a round of applause on how far the women mixed martial arts have came in the UFC. I swear, man, like this shit has came a long ways, bro. Valentina Shevchenko sits at number 1 pound for pound because of her consistency. She's pretty much defended her title, I believe, 5 times already. She's on the brink of breaking Ronda Rousey's record if she haven't already did it. Now, I think she's at 5 right now. But take this for note. This is the same Valentina Shevchenko who fought at 135 and lost to Amanda Nunes twice. But many can argue that she won the second in the rematch, right? Number 2 is Rose Namajunas, man. We already know that. I told you the story on Rose. She's the first woman to win a title, being a 2-time women's world champion in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? When I go over there pound for pound, I kind of break it down a little bit more. And of course, Amanda Nunes, she just lost her 135 pound title, but she is still the current 145 pound title holder. Juliana Pena is the new reigning defending 135 pound bantamweight champion. Shout out to Juliana Pena, the Venezuela vixen, man. Zhang Weili, what a rise of Zhang Weili, man. When she came over here, she became the first Chinese world champion, the women's world champion, right? And I mean, she was at the highest of the high, bro. Like she came over here and fought Jessica Andrade, who slammed Rose Namajunas on the head and won the title. So, like I said before, I praised Dana White for putting them. Okay, you won the title. Now you're gonna get a tough fight. Either you're gonna have a rematch or you're gonna get another tough fight, right? So Zhang Weili fought Jessica Andrade, who just defeated Rose Namajunas, and she lost. She got knocked out in the first round. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, what did I just watch? So they give her Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the one that was close to breaking Ronda Rousey's record, the former strawweight champion, and they go knock him bang out fight for 5 rounds, and Zhang Weili wins. But if you remember, that is the fight that Joanna Jędrzejczyk forehead, her front cranial was swollen. It was almost like a hematoma mass that was on her forehead. But anyway, she defended her title successfully, and Rose Namajunas comes back, and she fights Zhang Weili, the same female stop Jessica Andrade, and took Rose Namajunas' title. Rose goes in there and knocks her out in the first round, dog. What Dana White say? Okay, we're gonna have a rematch. But at that point, Rose knocking out Zhang Weili cemented her legacy as the first woman fighter to become a 2-time world champion, to lose her title and regain it. Crazy. That's my language. That's what I wanted to say. Like she lost her title and regained it, not a 2-time world champion. Like she lost her title and regained it. And then, of course, Jessica Andrade, who moved up also. Jessica Andrade moved from strawweight to bantamweight. She fought some of the best in the sport. And like I said, she defeated Thug Rose Namajunas, but yet she was stopped by Zhang Weili. Not only that, they allowed her to move up to freaking flyweight and face Valentina Shevchenko, where she was then defeated. And we all know the one and only Holly Holmes that's at number 7. Holly Holmes, man. I mean, you want to talk about shocking the shock in the world with her win over Ronda Rousey? She hurt her with a punch, and then once again, Holly Holmes having that kickboxing background, she landed that left high kick just like damn Thug Rose, hurt Ronda Rousey, and then some punches, some GMP a little bit. They stopped the fight. Shout out to Holly Holmes, the preacher's daughter, and Carla Esparza. Man, she's on the rise again, and it's only right that we're gonna see her back in the hunt for a title shot real soon. And to be honest with you, Carlos may be indeed stepping back into the cage against Rose Namajunas for a second time, I believe. I think they definitely fought when they was coming out the Ultimate Fighter, and that was for the title. And Carla Esparza won. Yeah, man. But not gonna go too far deep into the backhand of the 15 because it makes no sense to do that right now. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that little piece of information to y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's that's that mixed martial arts breakdown. But man, y'all hold it down, man. Like I said before, always, man. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. And just do your boy WCS a favor to the Spencerholics. If you're gonna drink responsibly. And if you do feel a certain way, like you're feeling all nice, don't jump on social media and talking the same shit all the time. Like, this ain't happy hour every day where I want to get on here and y'all up here saying the same shit about what Errol Spence should get. I mean, what Bud should get from Errol Spence. He should just take that 60-40. Listen to me. The fight isn't going to get made, even if Terrence Crawford comes out and say, you know what? Yeah, we'd be 60-40. We heard this shit before. If you get on YouTube and say, you know what? I'm taking 60-40. It means nothing because we've seen shit that goes down on YouTube, agreed upon. And then when it comes to damn actual paperwork behind the scenes, it was all smoke and mirrors. It's all bogus, dog. It doesn't mean it's going to happen any faster just because he get on here and say some shit like that. Real talk. It doesn't mean anything. But y'all remember, if you're going to tell the masses out here on YouTube to get the money, make sure that coincides with Terrence Crawford, get the money. Because y'all trying to act like to get the money doesn't belong in the reference of Terrence Crawford. He should just take what he can get. No. If you're talking about get the money, then that's the same thing I'm saying for dang Terrence Crawford. Get the motherfucking money. Y'all continue to hold this shit, man. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. I'm out.